Kia ora. Many business leaders in New Zealand are facing challenges right now, but there are some hopeful signs on the horizon. That's the main message coming through from our October 2024 BDO Business Wellbeing Index, which has surveyed more than 530 New Zealand business leaders in September this year. The results show business leaders across the country are feeling less positive than ever about their business financials and business performance, but there could be some light at the end of the tunnel. Other key takeaways from the BDO Business Wellbeing Index are: measures business leaders are feeling less positive about are economic and political factors, cash flow, financial performance, and workload. There is some good news. Business leaders are feeling more positive about the future, especially when it comes to their business cash flow and financial performance. This suggests business leaders expect to make gains in the areas they can control. Turning to our sectors, retail and tourism business leaders are feeling more positive about their business performance than they were back in March 2024. However, agribusiness are struggling. Māori business leaders also feel less positive than usual, which we'll explore more in our upcoming BDO Māori Business Sector Report. In terms of wellbeing, business leaders' Who 5 score has declined since our March survey, returning to pre-election levels. Looking at wellbeing and financial performance measures over time, we can see a clear correlation between the two. So, what can business leaders do to navigate these challenges? As I mentioned earlier, business leaders are feeling more confident where they can control their future, and they're generally more positive. So taking advantage of this pause to say, where am I going and how am I going to get there, and setting business goals and your strategy is really important. Equally important is measuring your financial performance over time, forecasting and tracking your results. Secondly, there's been a lot of business commentary around changes in the OCR of late. Now is the time to really take advantage of some of those changes, whether that be through a reduction in your current interest rates, seeing that improvement in your cash flow and seeing how you can best utilise those funds in your business, or whether it's making sure you're monitoring how those changes are going to come through over time and making sure you're making decisions appropriately. In addition to these tips, you'll find a full library of tips for business leaders on our website. But first, I'm keen to get the views from some of my colleagues around the country. Neil, what are your key takeouts from the BDO Business Wellbeing Index?
Thanks, Kimberly. I think when I look at the Business Performance Index and the sentiments coming through, they're neither surprising nor unexpected. I believe there is some level of misplaced hope that when the new government came in, there would be an immediate fix to some of the issues and challenges facing businesses. Now, we all know that that's taking a little bit longer to overcome, and macroeconomic factors at the same time have persisted, meaning that demand for goods and services has remained depressed, and this is leading to the negative business performance that we are seeing. At the same time, the government initiatives and measures to boost the economy are obviously taking a little bit more time before they provide the requisite gains to the business sector. It's easier said than done, but I think business sentiment could be improved if we just appreciated that economic cycles goes in peaks and troughs. And currently we're in a trough, but that does not mean that the future does not look brighter. Also, I think we can manage it by ensuring that business performance expectations are measured over longer horizons.
And what are your big tips to help business leaders navigating the current challenges?
I think business owners should not lose sight of the fact that whilst we're in tough economic times, they do present risks, but they also present a lot of opportunities. These opportunities may be in the form of underpriced assets. There may be opportunities to gain market share. There may be opportunities to take out your competitors. It may be an opportunity to optimize your processes or your product or services. Now, without doubt, businesses should treat with caution during tough economic times. But equally, I think business owners should have one eye open to opportunities that are available and be prepared to act and see these opportunities, because it's those businesses that do take advantage or capitalize on these opportunities will be the ones that thrive when the cycle turns. My second tip would be that in challenging times, business owners can often be seen as possums caught in headlights, with inaction, indecision, and loss of energy and momentum in the business. It is vitally important, and particularly for businesses in the SME sector, that there is strong and visible leadership in tough economic times. This leadership must exhibit vision, strategy, and motivation, and these must be clearly communicated across the business, both across the people in the business, but also for other stakeholders relevant to the business, such as funders, suppliers, etc.
Thank you for sharing that, Neil. Justin, welcome. What are your key takeouts from the latest BDO index?
Look, the survey is very reflective of what we're seeing here in the Wellington market across our business clients. 2024 is a very different year compared to 2023 and years prior to that, particularly with the ripple effects of government contracts that have been reduced for some business clients. And also looking at our charitable clients, a lot of which are headquartered here in Wellington, where they've had the effect of reduction in some contracts and also donations being lower this year from the public. Retail and hospitality, they've had a lot of press lately with some high-profile closures.
And so, what are some of your tips for business leaders looking to navigate these challenges currently?
Yes, happy to. I've got a couple of top tips for you today. The first is around financial performance, and this is about having a really careful look at your overhead costs. And so these are non-staff related costs, looking through your key suppliers that you rely on to run your business. And it's not about putting a red line through everything just for the sake of it. It's having a really honest conversation with yourself and your management team about your core costs and your key suppliers. Are you getting the best value for your money from those key costs and those suppliers? And look, there's going to have to be some tough decisions, no doubt, made as you go through that exercise as well. The second top tip is around cash flow, and it's a three-letter word, and that word is tax. Tax being a very significant cash outflow for most businesses. And so when cash flow is tight, this is a particular area that you do need to focus on. Depending on when your last tax return was filed, you may well be paying provisional tax based on previous year's profits, and this year's profit may not support that. So the key here is getting in touch with your BDO advisor as soon as you can. There are options available through the tax pooling agencies and other ways that we can have a look at your tax payments. So do get in touch with us and let's have a chat about how we can help.
Thanks, Justin. Some fantastic insights there. Finally, one of the most important things you can focus on as a business leader is having the right support crew around you. Our BDO Business Wellbeing Index shows workloads and a lack of support are among the main drivers for negative wellbeing for business leaders. It can feel lonely as a business leader, but there are people you can call on for support: your colleagues, your professional advisors, including your bankers, and of course your trusted BDO advisor. Visit our website to view the full BDO Business Wellbeing Index, wellbeing resources, and our wide range of practical tips for business leaders.